Hi everyone, it's the Juilliard here and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to be doing a video on my 3D waves. So the traditional method, or the method that a lot of us do to get waves like this in resin, is we mix up our 2-part epoxy resin, and then we pour it out into a pan or onto a plastic sheet, and then we let it set up a little bit. And then after it sets up and still flexible, so it's curing, but it's not completely cured, and so we can bend it and flex it, we then take it and form it on something, let it cure a little bit more, and then we'll come back in and alter it even more, and so on and so forth until the complete cure. And even then, we come back and add heat and other things to manipulate it if it didn't get manipulated enough in the process. So I love 3D dimensional shapes, but I don't want to invest the time waiting, forming. I want to do multiples in different ways, and so I need to be able to have that ability. So after trial and error, it was like, okay, what could I use? Well, I currently use a shaper sheet. It's a modeling material from Woodland Scenics. I use it a lot for my model sceneries and other types of sculptural art and 3D wall art. And I took the pieces and I thought, you know what? I bet I can make a mother mold from this material so that it would support my resin, first of all. You know, it's not going to collapse, so it's going to support my resin, and I can walk off and leave it, but I can add detail to it, and, you know, I don't have to worry about anything. Just model it, fold it up, pour the resin, walk off and leave it, come back when it's cured, open it up, and ta-da, I have my, my waves. So, but first I was like, okay, if I use aluminum foil. So I'm going to show you real quick what the difference is and why I don't use the foil and why I do use the shaper sheet. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 8 layers of heavy aluminum foil. Now, some of you may even find heavier aluminum foil, but anyway. And this is good. If you don't have shaper sheet or you can't get shaper sheet, then by all means, you know, try it with foil. It just takes a lot of layers. So, but anyway, and you know, then I could form it. But even still, with this amount of layers, it still was not the stiffness and structural that the shaper sheet is. Okay, so chuck that. Now I'm going back to shaper sheet. Okay, so you can see here how stiff it is, and that it can support and everything else. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to work with shaper sheet. All right. Well, we also need something so that the resin will release from the shaper sheet. Ooh, like that shine. Woohoo! Okay, well, let's flip it over so it doesn't annoy you. Okay, this is sold at the hobby stores. It's also sold at other, like Walmart, Michael's, Joann's. But anyway, this is a vinyl tablecloth. It comes by the yard, and you can have it cut to whatever size you need. It's really cheap. I think this was like $1 or something a yard. Okay, so anyway, that's what I use. Could you use plastic wrap? Probably so, a couple layers. You could probably use a trash bag or whatever. I just like the fact that this is clear, and you know, I can get it. I know what size I'm going to get. I don't have to worry about any puckers or anything. It's a flat sheet. All right, so we'll set that aside. We're going to take the shaper sheet. Why shaper sheet? All right, so here we go. For doing the water, we know that we need to model or add some like striations in it so that we kind of get that variegated, or I shouldn't say variegated, but that undulating movement of the water. So I have here just some simple things. I have an oversized or a tongue suppressor, popsicle stick, whatever, a plastic spoon. You can use sculpting tools. the end of a paintbrush, whatever it is that you use, you want to make sure that you're doing it and it's a smooth piece, because we don't want to puncture the foil. I do like to reuse my mother mold. So that's all this is it's a mother mold. It's a support system for my resin so that I can go back to it. I can open it up, take it out, and then if I'm careful with it, I can reuse it, reuse it. Okay? So, so now let's just go ahead and go into the detail. So literally, I've cut this piece, and I'm going to make a pocket. So I'm going to create this pocket. That's, you know, hence this. So we're creating this pocket to cast the resin in this shape. So I've made my piece, measured it out, and I'm going to take and just do these lines, just thinking about wave detail. I'm also doing it on a pad, just a couple of pieces of a fabric pad. You could use a piece of EVA foam, just anything softer that would allow you to get these kind of billowy patterns in the shaper sheet. I also like to turn it over and do the other side. On my other Instructable, I did a treasure chest, and so I did the wood. I made faux wood panels with this and did this treasure chest out of the same material. But anyway, so you can see there, so we've got like this patterning going on. I even think I want to add a little bit more. All right. Okay. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to go grab my spray adhesive. I'm back. So, spray adhesive. Just any spray adhesive will work. Basically what we're doing that for is I would like the plastic, the vinyl sheet here. I want that vinyl sheet to meld to all these little crevices, okay? So that whenever I start to form this, it too has that. Otherwise, if you don't, the resin's going to push against it and press it into those areas, but I would like to just be sure that that's going to happen. So we're just going to take the spray adhesive here. And you don't have to have a lot. Okay. Set the plastic on there. And come back with your spoon or whatever and just kind of... Yeah, you could do this process before. You could put it onto the foil, put the plastic onto the foil, and then come back and add in the detail. I was just afraid that I would maybe put a hole in the plastic. So you could do it, you just have to be pretty cautious that you don't, you know, get any kind of holes in it, because that means that the resin would then leak out. And we're really securing this resin as much as we can in it. Okay, so you can see now where the plastic is. I should have made the plastic a little bit bigger than the shaper sheet, but I'm just going to go ahead and trim the edge from the shaper sheet. And I'm doing this because we want to make sure that we seal this really well. And another cool thing is, because shaper sheet's white on the other side, if the resin leaks out and you've got color in it anyway, or even if it's just a clear, you're going to see it. So you're going to know where it's leaking. So you're going to be able to go back and you're going to be able to ensure that it's sealed off. Okay. All right. So here we go. Now we fold it. All right. Get it folded up there. Put the crease at the bottom. Now, once that's creased, we're making like a pocket. Okay. A little mitten. Come back in. You can scrunch up the bottom a little bit. This is for those areas where the water has done the wave. It's kind of frothy and everything. All right. So now we take the edges, press down. We fold over once. You'll grab you a pair of pliers, little crimper pieces, and just come through and crimp really well. Okay. Another option that you have is if you have some double stick tape, you could, I'm gonna unroll this and just show you that real quick. You could take the double stick tape, you could put a little bit of it onto the plastic, like so, and then press the sheets together if you're afraid that it's going to leak. I will tell you, I have done this many, many times for testing, and I have never had a leak. So, yeah. So I just think you just, you know, just make sure you crimp it well. That's the key. All right, so we've got that portion crimped. Now we're going to fold it again. The hardest part of demolding is literally taking out the crimp that you put in. That is the hardest part. But we need that crimp to make sure that it is sealed. All right. So that side is done. Now we'll come over here and I'm going to push down. We'll fold it. We'll crimp. And fold again. All right, so now we have our little pocket, okay? And we'll open that up, squish it in. You can just keep molding it, forming it. And this is where you get to play, you know, it's just play with it. Push in the end, you know, indent the end or whatever, push it in really thin, okay? And then I want to have a curl in this, so let's just take the can here. Let's just take the can and kind of do a soft curl. This way is a little bigger than the other way that I have done. Okay. And then come back in and just pop it out where you want to have it popped. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I really like that. I think I might just dent this one in a little further right there and have this one sticking out further here. Come a little closer with that. Can you see that? Okay. All right. Flip this out. Okay. Can flip this edge out a little bit. I'm pretty pleased with that. It looks good. It's got a good shape to it. We grind the bottom or sand the bottom off anyways to make it really flat, so that depending on what base you put it on, if you're going to light it or whatever, then you got that. So yes, I think that is quite lovely. And another cool thing that is nice is that if you have leftover resin or you're making it up and you do have a disc or a piece of the other piece of the shaper sheet, you can flatten that out and put your plastic on it, fold up your edges, make sure that, you know, this sits in it, and then model this piece with the plastic, pour some more resin, and then let that cure, and now you've got a base that you can meld these two together so that you actually have some flow of water if you'd like. So basically, instead of having, you know, this just like this, you could have it where the water extends out. Okay, so, and I'll just kind of show you some other, see, like this one here. I was working on one that looked like glacier stuff. So look at this. It's kind of this really deep, deep color. Yeah. So, yeah. And then when I was talking about the freeform pieces, this is the freeform. So that was just a piece of shaper sheet, folded up, crinkled up, and then poured in. And so then I've got this really cool base. I use this to display stuff on all the time. So, okay. So we're going to pause now from this step. I'm going to mix up some resin, and then we'll get it poured. I do set this in a box so that it's just sitting up. You could take another piece of shaper sheet and create a support cradle for it to where you don't have to put it in a box. It's just to make sure that it stands up while it's curing. Okay, but we're going to use a box. So, all right, see you in a little bit. All right, so now we're back, and what you see in front of you is I have mixed up my resin. It's a two-part, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. I prefer a product called Liquid Diamonds. I've been using it for so long. I absolutely love it. I use other resins too, but I prefer Liquid Diamonds. Now, the Liquid Diamonds, the epoxy resin store, gives me a 20% off coupon to share with you guys. It's a, you know, a code that you can use if you decide to go to their website and purchase some resin. It's 20% off, $20 or more. And yeah, so they don't pay me to do these videos, but they do give me a discount on the resin, and this helps me create videos like this for everyone like you. And so every little bit of money that we can save is very important, especially whenever you're testing things and you're trying to, you know, develop things. And of course, you know, who doesn't like a discount? So anyway, 20% off if you use the Juilliard at the epoxy resin store, and I'll put a link to it. But anyway, let's get started. So there are lots of ways to color the resin, and a lot of people know to use that they could use alcohol inks. There are other companies that create different pigments as well. And then there's Pearl-Ex, which, you know, if you want metallics or pearls, if you want it to glow, you can add glow powders. I get mine from a company called Technoglow. And then, of course, universal tints. Now, universal tints are what they use to tint paints in the hardware store. So they tint either acrylic or water-based paints and oil-based paints with it. And that's kind of what I like. I have used alcohol inks, and I don't mind using them from time to time. But I do know that they fade, and so I just try to... Everything's going to fade. Everything's going to yellow, and everything's going to fade. I don't care what anybody tells you. So, anyway, they might have inhibitors in them and things like that, but it's life, you know. Things do alter in color based on sun and everything else. So, anyway, I'm going to use the universal tints to do mine, and I'll do this really quickly. Okay, so I have our colors laid out here. I've got the white, I've got a blue, and I've got a green. Just toothpick. You can see I'm wearing gloves. Just, you want to protect yourself from all of components. So please read instructions, follow them, and then, you know, use your best judgment. Okay? You've got to protect yourself however you need to. When it comes to white, I like the froth look. I like that to kind of show up. You can see here. But you can put too much. So a little goes a long way, and I can always go back and adjust on the surface if I'd like to, but just a little at a time. And I'll just swirl that in. I'm gonna come up here close. And I don't like to mix it all in. I kind of like it to be marbly. I think that's, you know, kind of the cool part about it. So, and then I'll just add a little bit more in there. Okay, so there's that one. I'll set that aside. I do some blue. And I mix after I pour anyway, inside of the mother mold, I do add, and I take a toothpick and mix, and I'll get to that and show that all to you. So, okay, so there we have some of the blue. Now remember too, it's also, you can calculate your volume based on your size, so you know about how much resin to make. And then also you want to make sure that when you're mixing up your colors, that you remember that the more volume there is, if your color's dark, but the more volume there is, the lighter that it'll appear, and then of course the less volume and the closer that it is, the darker it'll appear. So you can get colors, like I said, as dark as that. I mean, that's, sorry about that. Come over here, there it is. I was going for that glacier kind of color, so yeah. And that just has like a little bit of black in it to get those kinds of colors. But anyway, so you can always add more. And like I said, I like that little marbling kind of look going on. Okay, so clean that. Grab another toothpick. Now we're going to go for the green. Why green? Well, I love aqua colors. And so I can adjust the color of this green with some blue, and I will get an aqua color. Now I do mix this up fairly well, this green color, so that I can see my aqua. And that's just me dipping back in my blue and just adding a little at a time to get that aqua blue color. Now, you know, the monitors and the screen are all different. You'll know when you're mixing it at home, your colors that you want. Every time we take pictures, it's never really true to color. So, okay, so we have that. I have my clear sitting over here. There's my colors. I'm gonna set them aside. I'm gonna bring the piece back over. So this is our piece. There's our pocket. You can see I have this little tray. These are just foam, those foam sponges. You can use batting, whatever. It's just to kind of help support it and everything like that. And yes, I know I say a lot. Doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about, just so you know. Okay, so what I would like to do is I've reassured everything, checked it all. I'm gonna take this white and I'm gonna just pour it in. Pour, pour, pour. Now I've calculated what I wanted for this one, so I know exactly how much. And at this point, I do take it back out. I just wanted to kind of show you how we do that. But I like to pour it around. Make sure it gets to all those little crevices that we have, because those are important. These little folds are important. These folds and everything are that cupping that we love about a wave. You can tap a little. What's great too is that the bottom we know has not been crimped. See, that's one piece that's been folded, so there's no chance of it coming out of any of this. So you can see here where it's indented, it will be indented in the end result. Where you're going to look for color to be coming out is on your sides. Like I said, I just keep rolling that around in there. If I wanted to add, you know, more white, you know, I could. I think I might. Somebody had just messaged me and said they like it when I have a little bit heavier white color for those waves. So let's just add some more white, why don't we? No worries. And don't do as I do. I dip my popsicle stick or my toothpick back in my color. But anyway, so they like that little bit more white. So I did add more white. I sell these in the studio, and then I also teach workshops. So, you know, if you can avoid the sides, that's great. If you can't, you can just kind of tilt it in a little bit to this area. I think that's plenty. Plenty of white. All right, now sit it down in here. I'm going to go ahead and take some clear. And that we do want to kind of have run down the side, so it'll help move that white that we had. Now you're not going to pour a whole bunch. You're going to keep an eye on it of where you're pouring. So we're about this far up. I don't think I can get you to see that, but we are. We're about that far up. Okay, so just alternating the color. I'm going to put in some blue. Put in some aqua. And remember, this is just small cups for now. I will mix more in the overall because I still, I have to fill it up. All right. Now, I'll take my container here. And I will get a popsicle stick now. Okay, so I have this, and now I have my other resin that's clear. I'm going to come in, I'm going to add some blue. And you can see it looks pretty intense, okay? But it's going to be spread out. And I don't want this one to be real pale. And I'll grab another stick and I'll get some green. Just a little bit of green. Just to shift that so that it's more of a turquoise color. And I don't know how your monitor's picking it up, or your phone, whatever you're watching it on. But I want a nice aqua blue color. Yeah, see, it looks a little blue on the screen, but it's definitely aqua. Okay, so I've got this secure. Pull it around just a little bit. Put my piece down in here like so, so I know that it's not going to go anywhere for me. We're good to go on that. I'm going to turn it a little bit here. And I'm just going to fill it up. Fill it up. Okay. And I have more over here. I always know how much I need. And I always do make a little extra because we may need it. May need it. Scrape that out. I still have more. But I'm done with this container, so I'm going to set it aside and move to my other container here. I'm just mixing other color to that. All right, so at this point, so you can look and you can see, I don't know if I can, let's see if I can show you that there's no leaks. No leaks anywhere, okay? And I can even show you that whenever it's cured, I can show you it before I peel it out. I will show you the the mold to show you that it didn't do that. And so you just kind of come in, if there's anything that you need to do, fold your edge so that you can get that all done. All these bubbles will dissipate. I would say use a little torch to get the bubbles out. If you do that, please make sure you don't get the plastic, because then you will burn a hole in it. All right. So see, I calculated it just perfect. Okay, so now take our stick, just kind of pull, push in, pull up. Okay. And I'm going to grab my little torch for us. The torch helps kind of bust up those bubbles, but this actually does really well without that. So, and we're going to sand it anyway, but we'll just do a little burst just to get quite a bit of them popped up there. There we go. And now, at this point, I think a little bit of alcohol ink would be kind of cool, because that bottom edge, we're going to sand it. But I've got this aqua color, and I'm just going to put a couple drops. And we'll just let that kind of migrate across the bottom there. Now, at the end, you could add mica powders. If you wanted a pearl look, you could mix some with some resin and kind of pour it in and get that. But I really just like the cleanliness of the waves. So, okay. Well, now it's time to let it do its thing. And like I said, I get to walk away and do another project, go outside, go home, go get something to eat, whatever. Come back the next day and pop it out. I don't have to keep monitoring it and watching it and making sure that it's going, oh, I've got to form it. Oh, I've got to come back in an hour or two and I've got to do this or do that. I get to walk away. So let's walk away together. Later. Hello everyone, it's the Juilliard and we are back. So it has been a few hours and the piece has already hardened, and it's not completely cured, of course, because you can still feel the warmth, but it's ready enough that I can take it out. Okay, I also wanted to share with you that someone said they would like to see some sparkles in it, so I went ahead and put a little bit of sparkles in it as well. Now, I said that it typically doesn't leak. Well, guess what? I had moved it around so much and everything that I must have pulled the edge, but it didn't like leak in the thing, and I'm going to show you. This is a good way to show what can possibly happen or may not happen. But anyway, just to show you that it's great to have this fiber on the outside. I say great a lot too, don't I? Boy, I tell you. All right, so I'm going to remove the foam. You can see there's no resin on the foam anywhere. And you can see here we have a little bit here and a little bit right there. Now this one I know it's because I had it opened up a little bit and it just seeped a little, but here it did come out the edge, and that's probably just because I didn't get it packed down tight enough or moved it around, whatever the reason. But you can see that it stopped it. So it didn't get in my tub or anything. The fiber held on to it. So, okay, let's start taking it apart. I'm gonna grab some pliers here. Just start peeling it up, undoing our little fold that we did as easy as we can. We'll just see how much we can get unfolded. This just takes a little bit of a tug here, but like I said, it's not completely cured, but it's definitely enough that I can demold it, look at it, see if I need to make any adjustments or anything like that. So that's a plus. Just keep working at it. the idea is to try to do it as easy as you can, because you do want to be able to reuse it if at all possible. This is that side I had glued on, I think, so I gotta try to pull up a little bit. Okay, here goes. Well, let's see what we got. Okay, so this in here I'm gonna have to pull on because I got the fiber stuck. Get on here. We don't want that fiber, you know, stuck, because we want to be able to, like I said, reuse it if at all possible. All right. That. Got that. See? There we go. So even though it leaked out, I can still reuse this as another mold. All right. Bring it over. Okay. See? Throw away. Okay. So overall, I don't think it's too bad. See the profile. Get it up here to the thing here. You can see the white in there. I'll grab a light, and we'll put a light underneath it. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna grab the light. Okay. So I have this little ring light that I use for my, well, you're not gonna be able to see that because of my other light, but anyway, I'll take some photos of it on in the dark on a base light so that you can see the coloring and everything. But yeah, so overall, so there it is. And so now this is the point where, you know, you decide, okay, I would like to trim off some pieces to the edges. You could cut in some areas that you want, and then come back with our, we'll come back with our glue, the hot glue around the edges. You can add in some crystals, some clear crystals, some faceted crystals, and aurora borealis crystals if you would like, which is what I'd done on one of the others. You could leave it. You could come back with some more resin and brush on more resin to, you know, get highlights where you particularly want them. But all in all, I think I'm pretty pleased with that. Hope you are. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said, follow the Instructable. It goes step by step. It even goes through the part where I add in the details and finish off pieces like that. Like this one here, see, I didn't finish the edge. I left it. I really kind of liked that look. And then the last one that I did for the sample, the other ones I've sold, but this one here, you can see where I've added the hot glue, gone back with some crystals and everything, and then also did a little bit of UV resin, clear UV resin, over that just to lock it all on so it could be done immediately, as opposed to, you know, waiting for it to cure with the two-part. But anyway, so yeah, love it. And this was fairly heavy. This one's a big piece. This is a two-handed piece versus the, you know, the one piece. See, So the size is all about what you cut it and how you make it. Hope you enjoyed this. Love doing it for you. You know, like, share, and enjoy. And happy creating, guys. This is the Juilliard signing out. Bye.